Drive-by, Chapter 11. When I woke up the next morning, sunlight hit my face. I had forgotten how happy early morning sunshine made me feel. In my old room, boards covered the broken window. Spider was barking in the backyard. He must have thought he was a rooster. I jumped out of bed and pulled on my jeans. I took one of Jimmy's t-shirts from the box. The shirt hung down to my knees. I liked the style. Mom wouldn't let me buy shirts that big, but I didn't think she'd tell me I couldn't wear Jimmy's. Mina was dressed for kindergarten. She sat in the front of the TV, eating Rice Krispies with too much sugar and watching Nickelodeon. I warmed milk and poured it over buttered toast. I like milk toast better than cereal. Mom had already left for work. I ate milk toast and watched Miss Washington peel apples at the sink. I hoped that meant she was baking an apple pie. She sang while she worked. Her voice was rich and thick, and I didn't want her to stop her song with my stupid questions about pie. When Mina and I went outside to walk to school, Zev waved from his front yard. He carried his books in a small suitcase. He wore a black jacket and a white shirt tucked in. His black shoes shone. How was he ever going to make friends when his mom made him dress like an old man? I tossed my backpack over my shoulder. "Hi, Tito," Zev said. "Do you want to play after school?" "I can't today," I lied. Zev went to another school across town. His mom thought our school was too violent. The first week after his family arrived in the United States, his mother paid me $1 to ride the metro with Zev so he wouldn't get lost. He had to wear a little cap all the time. Mom told me it was a yarmulke, and that he wore it because he was Jewish. I thought he'd get into fights over it, but no one seemed to mind at his school. Mina and I waved goodbye and started off. I liked the sound Jimmy's tennis shoes made on the sidewalk. When we were halfway to school, Mina asked, "Where do dragons live?" "Where did you hear about dragons?" I asked, trying to think of an answer. "On TV. A knight has to slay a dragon for me." "Do you know what slay means, Mina?" She looked at me in a way that meant she didn't. "It means kill," I said. She thought for a minute. "I'll ask my knight to put the dragon in a zoo then." "Good," I said. "Dragons live on Komodo Island." She looked at me to see if I was teasing. The Komodo dragon isn't really a dragon, just a large lizard. A lizard 10 feet long that weighs 300 pounds and has clawed feet and a forked tongue is close enough, so I wasn't really lying. When we got to Big Molly's diner, I saw the front end of the blue Oldsmobile parked at the side of the building. I was sure it was the same car I saw last night. I wanted to find out who the other guy was, the one who wore the bandana tied across his face. "Mina, wait here. I'm going inside. I'll only be a minute. Promise me you won't go anywhere." She nodded and leaned against a brick planter. I went inside. Icebreaker Joe and Lamar sat in a booth, stuffing Big Molly's special scrambled eggs made with onions and hot green chili peppers into their mouths. I took a step closer to see if there was anyone else in the booth with them. That's when I felt someone tug on my shirt. I turned around. Mina stood behind me. "Mina, I told you to wait outside," I whispered. "I got scared about dragons," Mina said. Mina stared at a plate of French fries soaking in country gravy. The man seated at the counter eating the fries put his newspaper between Mina and his breakfast, as if he thought Mina was going to steal his precious fries. I took her hand. We went to the telephone near the bathrooms. I punched 911. I wasn't even sure what I was going to say. I couldn't say these guys broke into an empty house last night. Did that sound like a crime, with everything else that was happening? I was ready to hang up when Lamar saw me. He looked directly at me. He stood and walked toward me, his eyes half closed, trying to scare me. It worked. Icebreaker Joe followed him. I dropped the phone receiver. "Go on to school, Mina," I whispered. She's always wandering away, but now, when she should have run, she stayed next to me. She must have thought she was watching Nickelodeon. Lamar stood over me, big and tall and mean. "How's Jimmy's business?" Lamar said, with his onion-smelling breath. "What do you mean?" I said How was Jimmy's business? Icebreaker Joe laughed. His chipped teeth looked yellow and rotted. "Run, Minna, run!" I whispered. She grabbed my shirt instead and twisted her hand in it. I grabbed Minna's hand and dove into the women's restroom. I thought going into the women's restroom would stop Lamar. Lamar followed me in. I've never heard a door bang so loudly against a wall.